My name is Amina Gloria Irankunda. I'm going to present about the creation and recreation of Venus. About the outline of this presentation, I'm going to talk about the introduction, overview of Titian, overview of Manet, description of Titian's Venus of Albino, description of Manet's Olympia. I'm going to compare and contrast the paintings. I'm going to discuss about the historical and cultural context of both paintings, that of Venus of Albino and Manet's Olympia. And after that, I'm going to conclude and show the references where I got the information. The introduction says that it's all about interpretation of two paintings, and I'm going to explain the overview of the painters, Manet and Titian, and I'm going to talk about the subject matter and the style of the paintings of those painters. I'm going to show the differences and similarities of those paintings and tell you more about the historical background of the paintings. About the overview of Manet, of Titian. Titian is a Venetian artist of the 16th century. This Titian contributed a lot in the areas of Renaissance art. Renaissance is it's when they were changing the direction in most of the fields like political scientists, and this Titian played the role in Renaissance of art. This Titian got trained through collaboration with Giovan and Giorgione. These two people collaborated with this man Titian so that for him to get trained in the arts and paintings. This Titian could paint the altar pieces, like he could paint those things to put on the altar in the churches, and he became famous of his portraits like Emperor Charles V and Pope Paul III. These are the paintings he painted, and those paintings were liked by many people and they made him become famous. Also, he painted works with mythological subjects. Like these are the subjects which like come from the ideas where you come with an idea and then you paint something, and those are the subjects where he could paint those works of those paintings. About the overview of Manet, he is the eldest son of official in French Ministry of Justice. This was one of the parents of Manet, and he was an official in French Ministry of Justice. And for Manet, he had dreams of becoming a naval officer. He didn't have a dream of becoming a painter or an artist. He just wanted to become a naval officer, and unfortunately he failed school entrance exams like twice. He after failing those exams, then went to Paris to pursue a career of arts, and that's when he started doing arts, and he was motivated by the award he got in 1861. It was an award where he painted a good painting, and then he was awarded an award which motivated him to continue that career of art. About the description of Titian's Venus of Albino, the style is Renaissance. Renaissance is the time when they were changing the direction. It means the age of changing direction. And here Titian brought the idea of drawing this picture as the idea of showing the direction which the art can change. And this was the reason why she drew this nude woman as the idea of changing the direction, and that's why the style is Renaissance. The subject matter of this painting is Goddess Venus. The reason why it's Goddess Venus, first of all, Goddess Venus was a woman whose functions was encompassed by love, beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity, and victory. And as you can see, this woman, she has flowers which was represented by that Goddess Venus, and those flowers can also represent love. And she also has a belly which represents fertility, and fertility was also one of the functions encompassed by Goddess Venus. She also has breasts which also represents beauty, and also beauty was one of the things that was encompassed by the Goddess Venus. There is also a dog which also represents fidelity. Fidelity is like being faithful to one partner. So this Goddess Venus was also encompassed by that function as a woman who was faithful. So that's why uh, the subject matter of this picture is Goddess Venus. The description of Manet's Olympia, like the style of that picture, is realism. As you can see, the picture, the colors of the picture, and its appearance, it shows that the things are for real. This is the time Manet was drawing this picture, in the time of realism, where they could draw real things and paint real things. And that's why this is realism, because everything that is in the picture, it seems to be for real. The subject matter of this picture is prostitution, and you can actually see the reason why this subject matter is for prostitution. As you can see, there is a woman, there is a maid having flowers, and those flowers, uh, that maid is bringing them to that naked woman who is sleeping there. Uh, there is also a black cat there, which it's like a sign of prostitution. Also, there is that naked woman whom the maid is bringing the flowers to, and it seems like the maid was bringing flowers to that prostitute, and those flowers are from they can be from the client who was like awarding the prostitute those flowers. This is a sign of prostitution, and as you can see that woman, how she is naked, you can even uh, imagine how she is a prostitute. So that is the reason why the subject matter of this picture is prostitution. On the similarities of the paintings, both paintings have naked women. As you can see, the above paintings, all paintings show the naked woman, the woman who was naked. They both have servants. Like those women, as you have seen, they all have servants. Even though the first has the white servant and another one has a black servant, but all of them have servants. Both women in the pictures are wearing bracelets. When you saw on their arms, you can see that they were all wearing bracelets, and those are that is also one of the similarity of the paintings. About the differences of paintings, Venus of Albino it has a style of Renaissance, while Olympia has the style of realism. As I have said, Renaissance is when they are changing their directions, and that was the idea of Titian to paint that nude woman as the idea of that as the idea of changing the direction. In the time of Manet, they were in the time of realism, and that's why he used that style of realism. The artist of Venus of Albino is called Titian, while the artist of Olympia is called Edward Manet. Mm, uh, the painting Venus of Albino has a subject matter of Goddess Venus. Goddess Venus, as a woman who is functions are composed of love, beauty, desire, sex, fertility, prosperity, and victory, while uh, the subject matter of Olympia is prostitution. As you have seen, that there is a woman who is naked, a maid is bringing flowers from the client, and you can see that the subject matter is prostitution. For the paintings of Titian, he used perfect colors when he was painting that painting of Venus of Albino, because it was the time of showing like the direction. He was trying to make his picture perfect by using perfect colors, but because Manet was in the time of realism and they were supposed to use usual colors, that's why for him he used usual colors. And those are the differences of the paintings Venus of Albino and Olympia. About the historical and cultural context of both paintings, Venus of Albino was painted in 16th century in 1538. It was made in the time of Renaissance. As I've said, Renaissance is when they were changing directions of like bringing the ideas of how they can change the directions. So he painted using good looking colors, so that he can make his picture perfect. Titian was motivated by that time of Renaissance because for him to draw that drawing that has perfect colors and that is including the ideas, it was because he was in the time of Renaissance, so he was motivated by that time for him to draw the picture that have the style of Renaissance. When he executed the painting, he became the leading master in Renaissance art. So because his painting was liked and it was perfect and good, so he was the leading master of Renaissance art. In the changing direction of art, he was the person who was leading in their time. The historical and cultural context of Olympia, for it was painted in 19th century in 1865. It was made in the age of realism. Realism is when they were like drawing paintings which are real. He was motivated by that time of realism because for him he was supposed to show like his painting which shows the real things. So he was motivated by that time, and he painted that painting of that has the style of realism. He was also motivated by artworks of Titian. As you have seen, the Olympia, the painting Olympia is has the nude woman. That For him to come up with an idea of drawing a nude woman, it's because he was motivated by the paintings of Venus of Titian, which is called Venus of Albino, and he came up with the painting of Olympia as a nude woman. Also, he had a subject of modern life, and he was supposed to represent this in a salon. So they were in the modern life, and they were supposed to draw real things that can be included in that modern life. That's why he painted the painting of a nude woman. In 1865, Manet submitted the painting of Olympia to French Salon, and they allowed it. So they allowed it without even checking whether the subject matter is good or not, because they had fear of refusing uh, his his painting again, because in 2 years earlier they thought in 2 years earlier there is a painting of him which they had rejected. So they thought that it may be a personal attack on Manet himself, so they decided to allow his painting. And I think that is the historical and cultural context of both paintings, Venus of Albino and Olympia. As a conclusion, the paintings were made in different centuries, where one was made in 19th century, and another one was made in 16th century. They are all done in different by different painters, where one is done by Titian and another one is done by Manet. They have different styles. One is idealism and another one is realism, and the subject matters also are different, where one is about prostitution and another one is about goddess Venus. Thank you so much for your attention. These are the references where I got the information from. This is also the continuation here of the references where I got the information from. Thank you so much for your attention.